Let's talk feces.
What?
There's been a lot of talk about how bad political division is, but I think I found something worse than political division. Political agreement, as in one-party cities and countries. One is always worse than two. A major medical association just canceled its convention in San Fran, costing citizens and businesses millions. Why did they drop out? Public drug use, increased risk of violence, and yes, human waste on the streets.
Ew.
In this one-party lockstep town. In SF, human waste-related complaints have soared 400%. Talk about putting up with a lot of crap. Meanwhile, New York adopts a similar roadmap, no longer prosecuting stuff like public urination. Sidewalks are now bathrooms in another one-party, non-divisive town. Meanwhile, a new survey ranks SF, New York City, D.C., Detroit, and Oakland as worst-run cities. Yep, all one-party towns, ignoring the dispossessed, as uniformly leftist as MSNBC, and every bit as removed from reality. You want knee-jerk agreement? These cities are dying from it. What's way worse than two quarreling voices? Try one leftist voice as a mob. So as we talk about how bad political division is, real-life problems are multiplying. As America improves as a whole, with a growing economy and zero unemployment, one party runs our country's once-proud communities into the ground. While they tout their phony tolerance, they turn society into an open-air clinic for people who need real help, not a blind eye and just a shrug. They make Mad Max look like Candyland. I only said feces once. That was the deal that we made. I just said it twice. I apologize. I won't say feces again. 3 times. All right, Kennedy, you are a fellow Californian.
Yes.
You've seen this up close. It's not pretty.
Well, it's interesting because there's been this big explosion, and it's something that really, I'm talking about the homeless
Yes.
population in tent cities, in big cities like Los Angeles and
Yes.
San Francisco. And it's because the left wants to be really helpful, but they tend to exacerbate the problem.
Right.
For example, in New York City, instead of building homeless shelters or helping people find jobs or get treatment for mental health and addiction issues,
It's treatment.
they shuttle people into $600 a night hotel rooms in
Crazy.
Times Square.
Yes, it's
and that
amazing.
money could be much better spent. Well, first of all, by individuals, because a lot of this is outside the purview of what government is supposed to do. And it really only makes the problem so much worse. So you end up having to spend so much more money that you raise people's taxes, you lower quality of life, and never really have an honest discussion about how to make things better.
Yeah. Now, Juan, serious question. You are a good liberal. Would you not agree?
Right, thanks,
yes.
Dad.
Would you not agree? Would you not agree that what makes a liberal better is a conservative, and likewise, what makes a conservative better is a liberal, and the fact that you need to have a certain level of opposition to help create a stronger argument? Don't you think these cities are suffering from a lack of a counter narrative just so that they can have a debate?
Yeah, I think that's true. I must say, though, I think part of this debate is deinstitutionalization.
I agree.
And that started under, I think, a Republican president,
Reagan.
as I recall. And the second thing I would say is that if you look at these cities, but I noticed that some big cities like Chicago with Rahm Emanuel, L.A., Houston, Democratic mayors aren't on your list. They're doing pretty good. And I say even with the cities on your list, including the one we're seated at the moment, New York, boy, boom city. People moving in, real estate values going up. So I don't know. People
Some areas are boom, other areas are poop.
But I'm just telling you, people might be discombobulated over seeing homeless people because they say, oh, I don't like having to deal with bums and the like. But, boy, people aren't exactly moving away from these cities.
Well, it's rich people.
But partly, yes, partly that's because the commutes are so bad because the infrastructure is so bad, and we haven't figured out a way to invest in that. And I'm surprised that Seattle wasn't on your list.
Yeah.
But maybe it didn't make that top 10. But just recently we saw that they did that. Re-up that idea where you could do drugs legally in that one area of town. And I mean, like, everybody's property prices around the area, like they're young families. So what has happened recently? Millennials are starting to leave cities for the suburbs. Why would you do that? You might want to live in the city, but it's not safe to do so.
You don't want kids walking among syringes and feces. Jesse?
The count is now up to 5, I believe, in
Yes.
the control room. I think I hit my number. Like you said, you need political competition, so you hold Democrats accountable. And there's also no local media to hold these people accountable.
Exactly.
There's no people shoving cameras in their face and saying these
There's no Jesse Waters.
There's the Waters everywhere. They're saying these programs aren't working. Shame on you. And there's also so much permissive, behavior out there. There's no standards. There's no accountability.
Are you saying bring back Rudy Giuliani to every major city?
Well,
Yes! Yes!
Rudy for America's mayor to all these
Hell yeah.
mayors.
The greatest mayor that ever existed
Well,
was
because you
Rudy.
know why he was so pro-police? A lot of these mayors don't want police to crack down on some of this stuff because they think that's mean.
Well, the quality of life laws would go over like a lead balloon in places like San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Don't you believe, though, that a lot of the responsibility are the young, rich people that are moving to California who are so wealthy because of Silicon Valley, but they're traitors to the places they move to because they aren't contributing.
Because they can live up high.
They live up high, so they're
building bubbles.
They're building bubbles.
They can afford to insulate themselves,
Yes.
especially in places where you don't take public transportation,
Yep.
you don't walk a lot, and you drive everywhere.
And you got your own Google bus.
And you guys are so off on this. Young people are moving into cities, and even seniors now prefer to live in
Have
big
you seen
cities.
the rent prices in San
I'm just
Francisco?
telling you, though, young people, millennials, want to go to New York. They want to go to
Everybody
D.C. They
wants
want
to
to
live
go
in
to
the
San
cities.
Francisco.
That's why that they should make the cities better.
All right. There you, Dana, always sensible. You don't have to use the foul language.
Feces?
Yes. Got it. Number 6. That wasn't me.